Hi everyone, it's Rax. Diablo 4 Season 7 is about to begin, and a lot of you have probably been wondering where a certain video has been. No, I did not forget to make it, and it's right here, the class tier list, as we have always made it for like 5 straight years going back to Diablo 3. The reason why it took me so long to make it is, first of all, I had to do some research because I have been playing Path of Exile a lot, and also I've had a really bad flu. It's just my turn to get sick, I guess, but better late than never. We're here. Let's go through the classes and let's see where everything ended up. And I'm wondering if you can predict what class that I put in first place. I bet some of you will be surprised. Let's quickly discuss how we rank all the classes. First, they're all going to be ranked first through sixth. First is the best, sixth is the worst. No ties allowed. First thing will be leveling, going up from 1 to 60. Then speed. How well do they do Helltide, Nightmare Dungeons, Kuros Undercity, some of the lower tier stuff very quickly. Then in the end game, what about pushing the pit or doing the tormented bosses or doing the raids? What about as a casual player? Maybe you don't have a lot of time to play, a lot of skill, a lot of gear, none of that stuff. What's the best class for you there? We'll take all those rankings and get an overall ranking for all the different classes. But the golden rule at the bottom is play whatever you think is fun. Don't let my video or any other source tell you how to have fun in your free time. Now, what happened in Season 7? Let me hide my webcam so we can read it all. First of all, the armory is finally here. You can now save your loadouts, so you can swap between builds very easily. The Spiritborn was brought down to earth. Everyone and their mom knows that they were 10 times better than every other class last season. Summons and minions and companions, all of them have been massively buffed. Should make a huge difference next season. There's new uniques, and there's certain buffed builds. Ball Lightning Sorcerers are there. There's Earthquake Barbarians, and there's Bloodwave Necros, among other things. It's now easier to max your Codex of Power. With the way that the affixes worked last season, it was almost impossible. Should be a lot easier this time around. The number of greater affixes on an item is going to increase the potency of like a unique item's power, for example. So you're not going to find a 4GA unique that has a minimum level power. The class quests only need to be done once on an account, meaning if you have done it any time in the past, you shouldn't need to do them again. When you hit 15 and when you hit 30, you'll just get the bonuses, or 25 for Necro. But if you want to, you don't need to let Blizzard tell you how to live your life. You can go do the class quests anyway and get a cash for it. And finally, the seasonal theme is a bunch of witch powers, which will help all builds, and you'll have new powerful occult gems going into your jewelry. Camera back on, and in last place, we have the Druid. And believe it or not, I was talking with my stream this morning, and I thought that the Druid would actually place pretty high. But then when I started looking at it more in depth, I actually still think Druid is, again, the worst class in Diablo 4, as it has been in other seasons. And I think last season, I had them in 5th. In leveling, I think they're the worst in the game. I think companions might be decent depending upon how much Blizzard actually did buff them. We'll have to see how it feels. But they buffed barbarians pretty significantly, and I think they're going to barely eke out the Druid, and I don't think there's any chance that the Druid is going to beat any of the other classes. So they're just last. And for a lot of people, the 1 to 60 journey is going to be a big part of it. So that's not good news. For speed, I don't really. Some of their builds are really fast, but in general, they haven't really gained any speed, and they've always been one of the slowest classes. Can't move them up from 5 there. In endgame, some of their builds are going to be quite strong. The Cataclysm, Lacerate is supposed to be really good. Companion is getting the buffs, as we talked about. Shred might be good, so maybe they're moving up a bit, but it's hard to see Druid winning in the endgame. And for casual, because they're slow and they're not going to be top in the end game and they have the slowest leveling experience, I don't know what to tell you. It's probably the worst choice. You take all of those, and I think Druid is in last, surprisingly, even though I think Druids are going to be pretty good. And I actually think I might make a Druid even. Cataclysm, Lacerate, Companion, Shred should be really good builds. There should be some other ones that are really good on Maxroll, and that's the guides that I'm going to use. And there should be other builds as well. Boiler, I think, is still the lead over on the Druid side. He's going to cook up some really good stuff, I'm sure of it. Season 8, same thing as always. We just need better leveling. That's what we've been asking for a while. Coming in 5th, we have the Sorcerer. And I'll be honest with you, if you're starting a Sorcerer, it will feel fine. And as you get further and further into the game, it's probably going to start to fall down relative to the other classes. The Sorcerers have always been good at leveling. There's tons of really great options. Chain Lightning is really good. Firewall is really good. You'll have no problem getting 1 to 60 on Sorcerer. And then with whatever build you decide to pick, speed farming around and that lower tier stuff will feel fine. And so for that reason, tied into the casual ranking, it won't feel too bad in the beginning to be a Sorcerer. But then once you get into the end game, this is where all the bad news is. It's really hard to understand which build is going to be breakout for Sorcerer. Well, we got new stuff for Ball Lightning. That didn't perform very well. Then I think we have changes to Ice Shards. I think that's going to be even worse. And other than when we had Lightning Spear, when Sorcerers absolutely ruled the world, which is honestly potentially still their most powerful build even after the nerf, I don't know. You could do the fireball build. I made that one last time with the staff and the gloves. That was pretty fun. Uh, but there's nothing amazing that's going to come out of the sorcerer in the end game unless I'm missing something. So they're dead last. If we put all this together, because they have a better beginning experience, I do think they're going to be a little bit better than a druid overall. But otherwise, they're in 5th place. Their best builds would be Lightning Spear, Fireball, Incinerate, and Ball Lightning, and most of that stuff is for the end game, but for leveling up, it'd be like Chain Lightning or Firewall. Again, we've asked this many times. We would really appreciate it if Blizzard would look at the Sorcerer's builds, one that we can stick with and scale into the end game. Firewall doesn't scale, and it's been like the best leveling build forever. For example, I would love to see that break out next season and be godly all the way through. Coming in 4th, we have the Barbarian. And honestly, maybe the Barbarian is a little bit better than 4th. We'll have to see. I think it's possible that Barbarian might overperform relative to what I think about it. So they did buff a lot of their just basic skills like Hoda and Whirlwind. You know, it's kind of funny. When I think of those two skills, have there been two skills in Diablo 4 that have changed more than those two up and down and up and down and bugs and gores, gloves, fixed on the very first day? It feels like every single season these are getting changed. It's like they can never land on where they're actually supposed to be. But a lot of the changes that I think that they made will make the Barbarian better at leveling. It'll at least be bearable, which should put it ahead of the Druid in 5th. In speed, it's a 4 there, but Barbarians are pretty speedy. They have charge, they have leap, Whirlwind is a movement ability. So that 4 is a little bit deceiving. I don't think they're faster than the other classes ahead of them, but they are very quick once you get a build up and running, so it should be totally fine. In the end game, they're starting to really get some power here with some of the new aspects and some of the new uniques and some of the different, actually just general changes to Barbarian. I'm expecting them to start moving up and start to actually do like some really good damage that's hopefully kind of for the first time, not because of bugs or exploits or anything like that. I think we might be getting into a point where Barbarians are actually just pretty strong in the end game and feel bearable to level up. For casuals, I'm going to move them up 2 spots because of it. I think it will feel better to play Barbarian. I think they will do well pretty much in all areas in the game, and they might even do better in the end game than I'm giving them credit for. Overall, I'll move them up 2 spots to 4th. I think it'll be a strong, very viable option for anybody next season. Earthquake will be good. Whirlwind, Double Swing, Hammer of the Ancients. For season 8, honestly, I couldn't think of anything super critical for Barbarians. I could ask for a better leveling experience, but they just gave that to us, so I guess I got to ask for something else. Maybe a little bit of more build variety. It feels like I just see the same builds all the time at the top. It'd be nice to see something totally new for the Barbarian next time. Coming in 3rd, we have the Spiritborn. Wow, it's hard to imagine Spiritborn being anything but absolutely number 1, just crushing everything. I think Blizzard has done a fair job with the nerfs and correcting the bugs and bringing them back down to planet Earth. And I did a little bit of research and I saw some other sources, and a lot of people think the Spiritborn, from what I could tell, they think it's going to be worse than 3rd. I'm not so sure about that. So if there's a class that I'm wrong on, maybe it's this. People don't seem to have that much faith. But I'm not really one of those people. I still think Spiritborn is going to be pretty good. For leveling, they have a lot of decent options, and they're just so agile. They're just so mobile, and that really helps you with leveling, just maneuvering around. Can't put them too low as long as they've got some viable builds, which they do. So I think they're going to be about fourth. For speed, they are just speed demons. So how could they possibly drop down from first? Well, I think it's a power level problem. I think there's another class where their power level is just so much higher and their speed is about the same, where I think we dropped Spiritborn to number 2. They're still gods in this area, though. For the end game, the Spiritborn lost a ton of its power. I don't know what build is going to emerge as their top build, maybe Quill Volley or something, but I'm not exactly sure what's going to be the end game powerhouse for them. Hard to imagine. Maybe more bugs and exploits will be found, but as far as I can tell, I can't see it here. So it's dropping down significantly down to 5th. The only thing worse would be a Sorcerer, which has, I don't know, literally nothing. For casuals, I still think it'll feel really good to be a Spiritborn. Again, they fall off at the end. For leveling, they feel fine. And when you start to do that intro endgame content, they're going to be great for it. And the evade build is even still there. People say it's dead. It isn't. You can still play evade, and that's the easiest build to play ever. For casuals, Spiritborn, I think, will be a good choice in number 3. And overall, I have them kind of in the middle of the pack at number 3. Other sources say I'm wrong. They say that they're worse than that. We'll see. I honestly think a lot of people won't play Spiritborn anyway because everyone and their mom was playing it last season. They probably want to play something new. Anyway, a lot of their best builds were kind of the same things we saw last time. Quill Volley, Crushing Hand, Stinger in the evade build is there as well. For Season 8, the archetype that seems to be very far behind is still Jaguar. I don't see it. So if no major builds emerge this season, I'd like to see them giving the Jaguar build some love. Coming in at number 2 is the Rogue, and you could absolutely make an argument for Rogues being number 1. I mean, I would just point to the best builds. Almost all of the archetypes for Rogue, whether you're playing an ultimate build like Death Trap, or you're playing Twisting Blades, or you're doing like daggers, or you're doing the bows, all of Penetrating Shot, all of them are good. All of them are good. And they got some nice buffs. And the Shadow Clone, the demo of the Shadow Clone that they showed us, where the Shadow Clone was actually doing what you were doing and mimicking everything, it looked absolutely insane. So this is why in the speed category, they moved up above Spiritborn. So Rogues are known as the super fast class. Okay, the expansion hits, and now, the Spiritborn is the super fast class. It's like even better. Right, but the power level shifted. I think the Rogues are just going to be stronger than the Spiritborn at roughly the same speed. So if the other thing is equal and Rogue beats it in the other thing, it's got to move up. Leveling Rogues are incredible. They have their spinny Dancy Blade build. What's it called? Whatever it's the spinny thing. That was one of my fastest speedrun clears ever. Incredible for leveling up. And you don't even have to play it. You can play other things. The end game, they have a very, very, very high power level, a very high power ceiling on a lot of their builds. I would not be surprised if the Rogue gets one of the best, if not the best, like Pit 150 clear. For casuals, it'll feel real good to play Rogue everywhere. It feels good leveling. It feels good right out the gate in the end game with the baby build. And as you scale it up, it's going to crush. Rogues are number 2 for me, and you could argue that they're number 1. Absolutely crazy. All of their builds are good. Just go to the Maxroll page and filter by the tier list, and you see everything is like S or A tier. It's unbelievable. Season 8 request, I think it would be completely unethical to ask for anything right now. We just got to hope that Rogues stay where they are. It's going to feel real good if we can keep them where they're at. So who in the world is going to beat Rogue? For me, I think Necromancers are just the best in Season 7. So I have them at first in everything. And I think the only thing they lose in is speed, just because Necros are so damn slow. But they are going to be so unbelievably powerful. I think if you've never played a Necro or you've been wondering about playing Necro, I think it's time. First of all, for leveling, the Minion build was already one of the best leveling builds in the game, along with Blood Surge. And especially the Minion build only got better. And so you are just going to be walking forward, just annihilating everything. Granted, you will be walking around Necros here. We walk, but you're going to be walking and just mowing down everything. In the end game, I don't know if this is true, but someone was telling me I knew that the Blood Wave build was like crushing everything, and it didn't look like in the final patch notes they actually toned it down. But someone told me that it was doing like quadrillions of damage. I don't know if that's true, but it's like the new Spiritborn. So I don't know if that's true or not, but anyway, it's a lot of zeros in the numbers. So I think that Blood Wave build, I think it's going to be at the top. The minions are going to fry. Bone Spear is going to fry. Blood Surge has always been good. I expect it actually to for it to be even a little bit better this time. The output here is too strong, even though their speed is so slow. I don't think you're going to be able to argue with the results. For a casual, the minion build is one of the easiest builds to play. Even if you play it poorly, you just kind of walk forward and they just kill everything. It doesn't get any easier than that. And for that, I have them at number 1, kind of up there with Rogue. Necro's going to have it real nice next season, unless Blizzard goes in and says, this is, we have too many zeros here and does an emergency hotfix, which I guess is not impossible, but I only expect that to happen to Blood Wave, if anything. Minions, Blood Wave, Bone Spear, Blood Surge. There's probably other builds that I'm missing. All of them are going to be very good. And if you're a minion enjoyer, this is the season of the minions. So you either play Minion Necro or Companion Druid or something. I think this one's going to have the highest output. Season 8, the only thing stopping the Necromancers is literally their speed. So if we could boost them up, Blizzard has tried some different things in the past, but I still think they're the slowest by far. All right, camera off. Take a screenshot here if you would like to, or pause the video and if you'd like to see how the rankings shaked, is that a verb? Shook up, shaked up compared to last season. And finally, everyone's favorite slide, the historical rankings. We have a 3-way tie. Necros, Rogues, and Barbs are kind of the cream filling here. And Druids have been historically the worst, and Sorcerers actually have been historically the best, like unless you count the cheater Spiritborns who have only been there for 2 seasons, even though they're ranked 5th for this season. That's it, guys. That's my Diablo 4 Season 7 class tier list. All the guides for all these builds, leveling in endgame and or otherwise, are on Maxroll. I think I will start Necro. I'm not even starting Necro because it's number 1. I just haven't played Necro in a while, and I do really love the minion build, and I've also loved the minion build in Path of Exile, so I think I'll just carry that over. And then I think after my Necro, I think I'm going to make a Druid. One comment that I want to make is a lot of people have created a divide between Path of Exile and Diablo. Oh, I like Path of Exile, so I hate Diablo. Or I can't believe people went to Path of Exile. I have loved Diablo, and Path of Exile sucks, and it's complicated, and I don't like it, and they're traitors for moving over. Guys, come on. Can we just, if you like both games, that's okay. If you don't like one of the games, that's okay too. I'm very happy to jump in and play some Diablo 4 with you guys. I will play as long as I'm having fun. And so whether that's 3 days, a week, or a month, we'll see how it goes. But I am excited to jump back in here and try it again. My entire career has been built off of this franchise. That is not lost on me. A lot of the people that watch this channel still love Diablo 4. That is not lost on me. I'm happy to make this video for you. I actually had a lot of fun doing it. The only reason it came this late is because I wasn't feeling well. It's out. Diablo 4 is about to launch. If you want to play along with me, I'll be live streaming it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's enjoy the new season. And honestly, genuine opinion, I think this Witch season is going to be at least above average, if not one of their best seasons so far. So I actually am looking forward to it. So let's play some Diablo, and I'll see you guys in game. Thank you.